Sometimes I despair the world will never see another age of enlightenment. Now it's time for the Fort Mac Philosopher Show.
All right, folks, welcome to the Fort Mac Philosopher podcast. This is the inaugural podcast of the Fort Mac Philosopher. Now, normally I subject my kids to all sorts of podcasts while we're traveling on the road. And today I am subjecting them to actually being involved in one, the inaugural Fort Mac Philosopher podcast. How do you guys feel about this?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Ooh, enthusiastic. Sarah?
Well, tired with her.
Yeah. Noah? I think Noah's asleep. You're excited. Excellent. Well, just so you folks out there are aware, Joshua, my son here, is running the camera, and we're just having a conversation in a car while it's driving, yes, and we're recording it, all right? So we're not doing anything distracted. My eyes are on the road, my hands are on the wheel, except when I got to make a point sometimes, and so we're all safe. All right, so today we thought it would be fun to talk about, I let the kids choose this topic, as long as it has something to do with philosophy. I think we're cool. Today we're talking about Santa Claus. Should we lie to kids about Santa Claus? Is it a fun little lie to tell, or does it do harm? Let's talk about this. What do you guys think?
I think it does more harm than good when it actually comes out.
It does more harm than good when it comes out? Noah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it'll hurt you in the long run.
It'll hurt you in the long run.
It's like any lie.
Like any lie.
When it comes out, it's painful to hear it.
Joshua, what do you think?
I don't necessarily see this as such a bad thing. I think it's just one of those harmless little mistruths.
Harmless little mistruths. Okay. Let's go around again. So Sarah, why do you think it's harmful in the long run?
Well, when you give this expectation of this jolly guy with magical powers coming out and giving gifts to all the kids, and you end up telling them that that's just mom and dad, it's sad.
It's sad. It ruins the
fun in it.
Ruins the fun.
Except
Noah,
for the present part.
what about you?
Basically, exactly what just you get all excited that Santa's coming, and then you want to meet Santa. Some kids try to meet Santa, but they never do. It's not possible, and they end up finding out that Santa's real, and it ruins their dreams.
It ruins their dreams. So let me ask you this then, and Josh, I would ask you, but you already think it's not that bad a thing, so. But let me ask you each your experience of hearing Santa Claus. Now, I told you guys a lie, right?
Yeah.
And I told you that Santa was real, that he brings presents, and I conducted this big charade. We hid milk and cookies. I ate nibbles out of it to look like Santa. I'd taken a bite. I drank some of the milk. We had gifts from Santa, gifts from Mom and Dad. What did you think when you found out that I had engaged in such elaborate deceit? When you found out, Sarah, do you remember?
I do. I remember I got told, and I was so devastated that I went and told my brother.
You went and told your brother.
I did.
Josh, how did you feel when Sarah told you the truth? Your little sister told you.
I was pretty sad when I first found out, but I mean, I don't think it necessarily ruined Christmas for me.
I'm pretty sure
No.
we both cried.
Well, did it?
Well, yeah. Well, obviously,
cried about
I was a little kid.
Oh,
Okay.
I kind of remember that, actually. I do remember that. And I remember thinking, yeah, that's right. You guys were heartbroken. What about you, Noah? Do you remember when that lie was ruined for you?
My friends told me.
Your friends told you. And how did you feel when you came home? I mean, how did you feel towards Mom and Dad?
I didn't really think of it.
Didn't really think of it? Now, let me ask you, Josh and Sarah, how did you feel about your parents? How did you feel about me and Mom when you found out that we lied to you? Did you think anything about that, or?
I was kind of surprised that my parents would lie to me.
You were surprised your parents?
They kept it going.
Right. And we're kind of laughing about this now, but
Yeah.
I mean, if we think back, I mean, you guys were devastated. I mean, you were literally feeling emotional pain. You were a little child feeling real psychological, emotional pain. I mean, you know, we tend to trivialize the crying of children, of little children. But I think that's wrong, don't you? I think it's wrong to trivialize the crying of little children. I mean, that denotes real suffering that is occurring. And that suffering was not caused, Josh, by your sister revealing the truth. It was caused by the lie your mom and dad told you, right?
Yeah.
So you did, it's a kind of fun to talk about, but part of me feels bad for laughing about it because, you know, we undermined your trust in us. You guys rely on us for survival, for learning how to discern truth from falsehood, and we literally lied to you. And I want to apologize to you guys. I know I've done it in the past, but I want to do it for the record on camera right now. I am sorry I lied to you about Santa, and I'm not making light of it. I'm not making it. I think it was myself. I think it was a terrible thing to do to you guys. I don't even know why. You know, the reason I did it was because it was fun for me. It was fun to see your faces light up. It was fun to see you imagine this magical place, and I liked seeing you have that feeling. But that was all about me. It wasn't about you at all, really. It was about me getting enjoyment out of your faces.
Sure, we'd have the same face once we opened up a present.
Yeah, well, once you opened up the presents, things kind of went away. But how much better would it have been maybe if we just told you the truth about it, right? That you know what, your mom and dad worked hard all year long, and we love you so much that we think so much about you that we want to give you things in life, and we want to give you gifts, and we want you to enjoy them. And you know what, you can. It feels really good to give a gift. It feels so awesome. You guys, when you have kids, you'll understand how awesome it feels to give your kids stuff and see their face light up. And one day you'll be able to do that for your kids. But imagine understanding that at a young age, being able to understand how good it feels to give and how wonderful that is. And what's wrong with telling the truth about that? What's wrong with saying that mommy and daddy worked really hard to get you this stuff? Why do you think we need to lie about that?
Well, I was really old. I was in like the second grade. I couldn't really comprehend that you guys were lying to me and all this stuff.
Right.
I sincerely thought it was real. And then after my friends told me, I was like grade 2 or 3, I started thinking if it was real or not. And then by later in that year, I just decided it wasn't real.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at today.
It's it's sad that we have to learn the truth about the world from our friends, and it kind of makes us look like crappy parents that we lied to you. So what if we just told the truth about things? What if we told the wonderful gifts? The magic of giving is in the giving. It's in the people that work hard to give you those things, as opposed to some magical guy that. So what about the story of Santa Claus, though? It's kind of a cool story. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, but again, it's just like a fairy tale. Like
It's a fairy tale, right? And fairy tales are fun, right? So
Yeah,
I don't
right.
think we need to take Santa out of Christmas at all, right?
No.
We can leave Santa in Christmas, but it's a nice fairy tale. It's
It's like all those other movies, like Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph and like
Right.
Jack Frost and all those.
And I think it's a great thing. I think, I wish I would have talked to you guys about, when you heard about Santa from your friends, I could have just asked you questions like, oh, how do you think he gets presents around the world all in one night? Let's do some calculations and figure out the speed. And do you think that the human body could sustain such a thing? Or does he, we could have explored some real questions about reality that are actually very beautiful, that are, finding out the truth about things is empowering and sets you free, right? So what's the verdict, guys? Are you guys going to lie to your kids about Santa, or are you going to tell them the truth?
I don't know yet. Because if you tell them when they're little, they won't really understand. And then they'll grow up not knowing. And I think they'll learn to almost appreciate things a little bit more from their parents. Knowing that you guys have to work for it, not having to learn it when they're older.
I think I will
Right.
tell my kids the truth, but I'll let them know that some kids do believe in the story, and to not direct it.
Try not to wreck it for them. Josh, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably do about the same.
Like I'll tell them the story and like how there's like this fairy tale of him bringing presents to all the kids in the world, and like I'll keep that story, but the gifts are from me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It has
think
to do with what you put on the boxes, really.
very good. You know what? You guys are going to be better parents than your mom and I ever was, and I think that is fantastic. So the verdict is, it seems, don't lie to your kids about Santa. It's bad. Tell them the truth. Tell them the magic, the joy of giving.
Well, it depends on what you think the result will be.
Depends what you think the result will be?
Yeah.
And what do you think the result will be if you lie to them? Do you think they'll ever...
If you tell them in an understanding way, in a way that they will understand, and you don't take too long, then I think it may be alright, but yeah, I know.
About Santa Claus?
Yeah.
So if you tell them, if you lie to them about Santa Claus, it may be alright? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. It's kind of something to really get into. It depends on how kids really feel about it.
Do you think it's... But every kid loves the story of Santa Claus. They feel good about it. Do you think that's a good reason to lie?
Well, if you tell your kids that he's not real, then he may not, or he or she may not still believe you, but it's good to hear it from friends, like, oh my, Santa's bringing me gifts, can't wait to see what Santa brought me and all this.
Right.
And then,
oh, that's a good point.
If you tell when you're young, he or she's not going to understand.
So they're going to hear from their friends that he is real. On to the idea that, kids might not understand the truth, I think is what Noah's getting at. Is that right, Noah?
Yeah. But also, as I was saying with teachers, is teachers don't want, teachers are either going to tell them that it's fake or real. Chances are they're going to tell them that they're real. Because monkey see, monkey do, basically. They're going to hear that he's fake, and he's going to ruin it to the younger kids, and it's going to keep going on. And then teachers don't want to lie to the kids, but they will, saying Santa is real, and then they don't know who to believe, the teacher and their friends, or if they're going to believe their parents.
So would you say it's better if everyone just believed a lie than to have a few people telling the truth?
I don't think you can really control what your kids believe, but you can be a huge influence on it. So you can tell the kids the truth, but you have to understand that that's not going to decide what they do or do not believe.
You don't think you can choose your kids' belief for you?
No.
Do you think there's a child on Earth, a 2-year-old, that when their mom or dad says there's a man called Santa Claus, that they don't believe them?
Well, they probably won't even understand, or they see that they won't understand, and they probably won't believe it.
No, but they do understand. You guys understood at a very young age, probably around 2, maybe even younger, who Santa was.
Yeah, well, they don't decide. They're just, like I said, they're being influenced. So they're giving them hints towards the Santa character being real, when really he's not.
Right, but their parents decide the beliefs of the children, right? If you tell a child something they believe it, they're wired to. That's biological.
Well, I think you're trying to say is they give the idea and the kids
believe the idea.
Go off of that.
So you're not really deciding. You're kind of deciding and you're kind of not.
So leave it up to the kid is what you're saying. What to believe.
He or she decides what's real and what's not real.
I think that's a good idea. I think that's probably a better way of approaching it, actually, Noah, than just flat out saying, you know what, Santa isn't real.
So just tell them the story
tell them the story and say, make up your mind. Do you think it's realistic or not? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? How does this happen? How does that happen? How does magic happen? How does one get magic? How do you suspend the laws of nature? Do you know anyone that can do that? Obviously, no, it has to be age appropriate.
Yeah.
But you can ask kids questions, right?
Yeah, but you can't go telling. The wrong thing that sort of is, you can't go telling 3-year-olds about how the body will be affected by the rate and speed that you're traveling through the air.
Right. No, you don't have. Wouldn't say that to a 3-year-old, obviously.
Yeah.
But a grade 2, you didn't find out till grade 2. 2
or 3.
Right. And so, you could, what if someone else's child came to you and asked you the question, is Santa real or not? After their mom and dad lied to them, and they have a suspicion that he's not real. What would you do?
I'd tell them if I thought he was real. If I was little.
What if you're your age right now? What if a kid came up to you, someone you know, maybe your little nephew, Hayden, we're going to see him right now. What if Hayden came to you and said, Mommy and Daddy told me about Santa Claus, is he real?
I'd ask him what he thought of it, and I'd tell him about what happened in the story, if he thought it was real, if he thinks it's real, if he thinks it's real, and I can't really do anything about it. I can influence, but I can't decide what to do.
Right, I think that's a great way of looking at it, because you can actually influence it, right? Like if you told him, yes, without a doubt, Santa's real, he would believe you. If you told him, no, there's no such thing as Santa, he would believe you, right? Kids will believe you. So I think it's fantastic, Noah, that you would, instead of telling a child your conclusions, you would ask them some questions about what they believe and how do they know if what they believe is true or not, right? I think that's a great way of doing it. That, my friend, is what philosophy is all about. It's a process. It's not necessarily about coming to conclusions. It's about how do we discover conclusions. It's the process. How would we know if we were right or wrong? How would we know what's true or what's false? How do we work through that? And I think that if that you can teach to a child, then we got it. So don't lie to your kids and help them discover the truth. I think that's the lesson here. Are we all in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Fort Mac Philosopher signing off. Merry Christmas.
Philosophers never made any money saving the world from shady belief systems. Sometimes I despair the world will never see another age of enlightenment. Now it's time for the Fort Mac Philosopher Show.